I feel like we're started. Oh.
Music. In 3, 2,
Oh, we're already live.
1. We are live. Waka Waka Wednesday, coming to you live from South Lamar Studios. You have the Innovation Station podcast,
R&D podcast?
R&D podcast. Well, that's what the brand says. So,
It's all one
we're
thing.
here. We're happy.
Very happy.
It's a lovely AKO day. Well, how are you doing? Hagen?
Doing well. Still trying to decipher what you just said, but I'm doing great.
That's great.
And I don't know how lovely it is outside. It's a little
The
dark.
sun came out during my lunchtime for a little
Oh,
bit.
it did? It's
That's
because you went outside. That's why.
why I like to stay active.
Well, I'm saying you are the sun. Like, you brought out the sun.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
never give me
I
compliments.
know. I'm turning over a new leaf.
Oh, there's a lot to turn, so keep.
Uh,
How have you been? How's the R&D department?
I've been busy, and the R&D department has also been quite busy.
I just see you building toys in your desk nowadays.
It's a robot that will be showing off, a very small one, but yeah, that's what I've been up to, amongst other things, like the challenges.
Ooh,
I don't know if you checked your inbox earlier today, but James, Donald
James?
Holmes, yes, he sent he sent out an email about I don't want to use the word grading, but I guess grading ideas.
Ranking.
Ranking, that's a better word.
That's literally what you're doing. You didn't read the email?
I guess I didn't.
Oh.
I did proofread it before he sent it, though. So if there's any errors, please send them my way. But yes, so ranking has started. It's upon us, and we actually have a few rankings in already, so that's great. But we need more. We need more.
To confirm, this is for the robotics challenge.
This is for the robotics
You get
challenge. I know there's
confused with the
so
AI
many
challenge.
challenges. We're doing so good over here. But yeah, we had 31 ideas submitted, which is
Wow.
awesome.
Did you finally submit your idea?
I did finally submit my idea.
And it-
No, it was Thursday, so a day before. I had to let it stew, let it build up.
Sure. Yeah.
But so yeah, 31 ideas, and anyone and everyone can vote. So it doesn't have to be just submitters. Doesn't have to be if you've just been on the innovation station.
So you're telling me I can send it to my family and have them vote
Anyone
for
within
me?
RO,
Oh,
I should
dang
say.
it.
Good point. Yes, within RO, you have to have an RO email. That's how,
Mm.
because it's all SSO. So you're signing. But you don't have to sign into anything. You just click that link that James sent. That'll auto-populate your email. And then you can just go through we have all the ideas on the left side there, so you can look at them. If you click on the thumbnail, it'll take you to the idea. You can read more about the idea. At the bottom is also a link that'll take you to Iris, where you can see the ideas as well.
You like Iris?
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to view them. And then on the right, you have 5 choices that you can rank, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're not allowed to choose the same idea multiple times.
Of course.
And then you just choose your 5 and submit.
Have you voted yet?
I was just about to, but it's so hard. It's so
Is it-
hard, Bruno.
Why is it hard?
Because there's so many fantastic
I have two
ideas.
right there. Just put those
I
at
know. There you
the
go.
very
You've
top.
got 2 ideas. Vanessa's got 2 ideas. Our very special guest has 1 idea. There's
That's
just
your 5.
well, I
Easy.
have my
Done.
idea. There's lots of great ideas.
Well, you have to rank good ideas again.
Yes, I know, but I think mine is good. And then the last thing, in the event that you do submit, and then you realize, oh, I made a mistake. I didn't put Hagen's idea on my top 5. You can go back and just resubmit it again. We're only going to take your latest submission. So if you submit 12 times, we're going to take that 12th submission, not the 11 prior to that. So just a little. If you make an oopsie, it's okay.
Oopsie daisy.
Oopsie daisy.
I love those in this office. When's the deadline to
Friday.
this
Of
Friday?
this Friday. You only got 2 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 days to rank ideas. And so get it in by the end of the day, Friday, if you can. But you have all day.
And the winner will be announced June 7th, correct?
That sounds like a great date. Yes, June 7th.
We're going to be doing our live show.
Yes, that's right,
Talk
Todd.
to your boss before this. Don't worry.
He's not my boss. Yes, June 7th is when we announce. So it'll be a little ways. We'll keep everyone stewing over who potentially won. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. June 7th.
Perfect. Looking forward to it. And then there's also the AI challenge.
The AI construction powered challenge. Something of those words all intermixed with each
you
other.
created it, but I'm glad you know
I
it.
did not. James Donald Holmes did.
Our James.
Our James. So I think we have 4 ideas. I think another one just came through. It just but about 30 minutes ago. So not
Nice.
right now. So we got about 4 ideas in there right now, which is good. I know there's still a lot of people are still on the
Stewing over them.
right. Absolutely.
Have you submitted an idea?
No, I haven't.
So
I'm
you're
stewing
stewing.
on it.
Okay,
That's
got it.
right. That's right. I know you did, so
Of course.
it's a great idea.
I know.
I don't remember what it is, but it's a good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, so you have until June, I think 2nd on that one. That's a Friday, whatever that first Friday in June is. You have until then to submit. So it's still about 2 or 3 weeks, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So plenty of time. So get those ideas in.
Perfect.
Yeah. But that's all. That's the main stuff from over her. What about over there?
Over there?
Yeah.
Over her, it's going pretty good. VDC is chugging and tugging. They want to give a special shout out for if you're in Latin America, today is actually Mother's Day.
Oh, is it?
For you, all the Latinos out there, shout out Latino boy behind the desk. I don't know what he said, but happy Mother's Day to any RO Latina moms out there.
Nice.
Shout out. But for that, just staying busy. I know someone who has been very busy is down there in San Antonio,
Ooh.
the NAWIC organization. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you've heard of it.
Yes, Vanessa's told me about it.
Yeah.
Who I think
so
you're
she-
alluding to.
We have a couple of ladies in San Antonio in it, include Vanessa, Stephanie, and Courtney Navarro.
Mhm.
There might be a few others. I think those are the only ones I know. But there was some exciting news happening last week. We won the SMPS San Antonio Marketing Communication Awards for Fernbuscher's special events and promotional campaign.
Dang, okay.
And then Courtney Navarro was also awarded the Guiding Hand Award.
Do you happen to know what the guiding hand?
Well, hey, I was gonna ask you if you knew, but I'm gonna let our viewers look it up online.
Yeah. Maybe James will throw a link in there.
Hopefully, because
Hopefully.
Stephanie Garcia also accepted an Above and Beyond award as well.
Now that one I probably understand what it is.
I
That's
think-
crazy. That's a
yeah. So shout out to our San Antonio ladies.
that's
down
pretty
there.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, that's what for firm special promotional guiding hand, and that's 5 awards, right?
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty.
I think Vanessa also had led some keynote speaker happening.
Oh, really?
She got on the podium. I know that.
Wow. Okay.
So,
Hey, look at them. That's pretty sweet.
so
All right.
congrats, ladies. Keep
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know you guys made history last week, but in this show we talk about history. So Hagen,
Yes.
I think it's your time.
To talk about today in history.
Today in history.
Okay. There was a lot that happened today.
I saw the list.
A
I
lot of them.
apologize for the listeners. This might get educational.
Right. Oh, I want to test your knowledge. That's what I want to do. We're gonna go from old to new, because the last one's pretty exciting. So in 1774, Louis the 16th.
Mhm.
Yes. 16th.
So, yeah, that is 16.
He took the throne in France. His wife, I think, is actually probably maybe just as notable, Marie Antoinette. They'll let them eat cake, right? French Revolution. Yes, they both lost their heads. In 1865, Jefferson Davis was captured by the Union. So the Confederate War or
Mhm.
Civil War, kind of on the downturn there. And then so I'm going to ask you this question. So in 1869, we had the Central Pacific and the Union Pacific Railroads joined together. Now, don't look at your notes. Do you know in what state those two joined?
Can I call a friend?
Yes.
A dog. Are you sure?
Oh my
You're watching right now? I'm gonna go with Utah.
Utah is correct. Great. So that completed the first transcontinental railroad. And after that,
Ooh.
America decided never to build any more trains, it seems.
Wow.
In 1872, Victoria Woodhull. This is a good little trivia fact.
So what?
Victoria Woodhull was the first woman to be nominated to run for president. She was nominated to run for president.
wow.
1872. That was a lot earlier than I anticipated. I forget the exact party. It was a very small party, like I think it was Equal Rights Party. But unfortunately, of course, she did not win. But do you know who won in 1872?
I do not know. I wasn't born in this country, so I don't know my presidents
That's
yet.
fair. That's fair. Ulysses S. Grant.
Ooh,
So-
Mr. Grant.
That's right, Mr.
Mm.
Grant. President Grant. In 1960, Bono was born.
Bono.
You know who Bono is?
Yeah, he's a singer for you too.
Okay. Yeah, the guy who liked to put his music on all of our iPods.
Yeah, and we still listen to this day when it
Yep.
connects to your car.
It's a beautiful day. In 1962, this is for you because I know you're a Marvel fan. Do you know what hero, I guess he's an anti-hero, was introduced. Not really an anti-hero, but that's what the article said. Any guesses? 1962.
Anti-hero.
He's got muscles like me, humongous,
Like you.
green.
Like you. Hulk.
Yes, the Incredible Hulk was released.
Same humor and same
Oh,
attitude.
he's very funny? Wow, I didn't know he was as funny as me. And then in 1994, Nelson Mandela became the became the president of South Africa. So
Oh, nice.
that's what we're going to end with. And that's been Today in History.
Today in history.
Well, and now,
I'll let you do the segue.
in our last 5 minutes here,
Yes.
we are going to do everyone's favorite segment.
Ooh, everyone's favorite.
Everyone. Building around the world. That's right.
Do you want to share your Around the World event or you want to share mine?
Yours is more exciting, again, as it always is. And this way, we just get to keep pushing mine. Maybe by the time I announce mine, it'll actually have been done.
I'll make it to the Today in History segment. So I'll start off with, over the weekend, I actually got into watching some of Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso. I was
Absolutely love
catching
that
up on
show.
some of the shows. So I was catching up.
Maybe my favorite show.
So I was inspired by some of these stadiums these athletes play at.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that the Santiago Bernabeu.
Can we get a correct pronunciation, please?
Santiago Bernabeu.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh, goodness.
Damn, it's hot in here. I thought it was French. But the stadium is located in Spain and is the home to the Real Madrid soccer team. Football team.
Football is life.
Football is life. But it's been the stadium since 1947 and it got a 650 million upgrade.
Dang.
So it's keeping its 181K seat capacity, but it's having a few cool features. It's going to have a skin of steel bands that's going to create surface for projections, as well as a retractable roof, 360-degree video scoreboard inside so people can kind of catch up on their news and ads. And just, your usual improvements on the landscape and cityscape around it. And it's supposed to be completed on 2023 this year, in October.
Oh, this year. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So 4-year renovation, more or less. I think a little more.
We should go see a game when it's done. For my birthday. Wow.
Perfect.
Perfect.
I'll book the tickets.
Okay.
But that's been our segment 4. Around the world.
Building around the world.
You're right.
Yeah.
But without further ado, I think it's time for very special guest.
Very special.
I haven't had the honor of actually working with him yet. He's from our Dallas office. I do know his dad works for RO as well.
Oh, we got
I guess
another.
who his dad is.
I can tell you exactly who it is.
Yeah? Do you want to get?
No, because I don't want to ruin it.
Okay. So he doesn't know. I know he recently came down with a bit of handicap because he participated in the Texas softball tournament with RO. Did they win? I don't know. We'll find out soon. So he's a trooper for showing up, and then he does have a glorious beard. So I even took the time to shave myself because there's no enough space for
too
many beard, too much facial hair. So I'm just gonna take it away.
Yeah, don't want to embarrass yourself.
Yeah, I always do. So, but without further ado, let's introduce our guest of today, Garett Pesnell.
Yay, Garett!
After this commercial.
This is going to be a quick video on how to rank your ideas for the Hilti Robotics Challenge. First thing you're going to do is click on the link in the email or copy paste that link into your browser. It's going to take you to a Power Apps page. It may ask you for permissions to edit an Excel sheet, which is the back end of this. Go ahead and hit allow on that. When you get here, you'll see that on the left we have all of the ideas listed out. And this is just a very basic list, but if you hover over the icon and click on that, it will take you to that idea in the innovation station where you can see all the details on it, any attached documents, all the things that person included on the particular idea. You can also use the link down here, the button down below, to jump over to Iris in the innovation station. That's probably the best way to view these ideas. If you come up here to menu and go to challenges, you'll see all the challenges listed. We're going to go ahead and filter that down to the Hilti Robotics Challenge. And now you're able to see all the ideas next to each other. And if we want to go in here and select one, it provides us a very nicely formatted way to review these ideas. So those are the two different ways to review the ideas, get all the information that you want. Once you've decided how you want to rank these, you're going to come over here on the right side of the screen. You'll see, best idea, first place. Go ahead and select whichever you feel is the best idea, followed by the second best idea. And these will not allow you to select the same idea twice. So if you've decided that CoffeeBot really belongs down in fifth best, you're going to have to select something else for first. Once you've ranked the ideas as you see fit, first through fifth place, we're just ranking the top 5. Go ahead and click Submit My Rankings. That will submit your selections, record them in our data set. You can go back and use this link to do this again, but it's just going to edit your previous submission. So keep that in mind. You're welcome to go and make as many changes, edits as you want, but whatever the last entry is the one that will be looked at. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to Dr. Fritz or myself. We'll get you taken care of as quick as we can. This is very important. This is how we're choosing the winners for not only the Hilti Challenge, but also probably for the AI.
What is a good, I don't want to say persona, but like what's a good level of behavior and enthusiasm and all that?
Yeah.
Everything was like, oh, go watch Craig Ferguson. He's one of the best. People love him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very
Yeah, he sat there for
animated.
one show. He sat there for the entire segment, 2 segments actually, talking to Harrison Ford, all about flying because they're both pilots.
Yeah.
And it was just very technical talk about airplane pilots. And it was like one of the best interviews I've ever seen.
Like probably 95% of people tuned out. They're like,
Yeah.
yes, to hell with this. But then that
true-
5% that held in there, like,
true
oh,
fans
this-
true fans of the show and stuff.
yeah. Has he crashed anything lately? Didn't he land in Harrison Ford? Didn't he like have to land a
think
plane in
so.
LA or something like
Yeah.
that? I think that was years ago. I don't know, at any rate, let's pivot over to some work related topics.
Maybe.
Maybe we'll try. We'll see what happens. Mr. Garett Pesnell, how are you doing today?
Doing good.
Thanks for making the drive down in the inclement weather all the way from Dallas. I know it's
It's not too
a
bad.
bit of all.
Enjoy coming south.
Yeah. We're grateful to have you here.
Like a second home.
Second home that you don't visit more than about
Yeah.
once a decade or so. Is that?
Yeah, at least, well, no, about once a year because I still got
Okay.
friends here from college.
There you go. Don't be a stranger. We love to see you. So Garett, what do you do at RO for those that aren't familiar?
I'm a project manager.
And you're up in Dallas working on a data center project currently. Is that correct?
Correct.
What do you like about that? What kind of pulled you into that, or were you pulled or pushed rather into that data center?
It was a little bit of both. I got into the data center world 5 years ago now. When I first made APM. So I did data center in Allen, Compass Data Center in Allen. That was my first data center project. But been around the technical space my entire life because I'm just a huge nerd. I knew about data centers and everything like that, and I figured that they would get built, but I didn't know that was something that could be done here.
Do you think that I'm using your own words here, so don't hold it against me, that nerdiness kind of helped you with just having that intrigue when it came to these projects? You kind of had that, you had some background knowledge, you understood what their purpose was and all that sort of stuff. You feel like that kind of helped you kind of give building blocks to work off of?
Somewhat. That helped more with understanding like stakeholder expectations with ownership and everything. And when you know the purpose of a building, I've found out through my career, you can deliver a better product to your client. And a lot of times, we get drawings that show intent from the architect, and they're very well designed, but they don't take into consideration the purpose and the actual function day to day. Because a lot of times the people that use the building are not in the design and development meetings. Sometimes, talking to those guys when I was a quality manager doing owner trainings and stuff, they would mention some things about, hey, this is kind of like a irritating thing about just buildings in general from maintenance people. And, I just incorporate that into my
Yeah, sorry. Just go ahead and pull it in a little closer.
Yeah. So I've
It's your friend. I promise. It
Yeah.
won't bite you. It won't shock
no,
you.
it's okay. I'm more afraid that I'm gonna slap it around because I tend to talk with my hands and stuff.
Just be some YouTube thumbnail gold if we can get that shot.
Yeah.
Microphone
Yeah,
going across.
I'll be a gift for sure.
I feel like with the data centers too, it's interesting because there's so many different aspects of that, right? Like whether it be the power generation side of it and all the backup generators, or you get into the low voltage side and all the security and alarms and all those systems. There's so many different things to consider that without some sort of experience, it's almost impossible to just comprehend it all and understand how it all comes together.
Somewhat, yeah. It seems a lot scarier from the outside, especially to people who've never stepped foot in one or looked at the drawings and not just looked at them, but you study the drawings a little bit and you start to see that it's just a lot of times what we're doing building a data center, either a greenfield or doing a retrofit. It's pretty close to what we do in core and shell office buildings. A lot of times we're stopping at a certain point and then somebody else comes in and puts in the servers and all that kind of stuff.
I know you mentioned that you've always kind of been more on the technical side of building and all that, the more challenging structures, if you will, complex rather, I should say. They're all challenging.
Mhm.
It's a matter of what kind of challenge. How did you end up at RO as a whole? I assume you've been doing that the whole time, or it sounds like you've been doing that the whole time.
Mhm.
Did you just slapped in an application?
It's a crazy story.
It's almost like somebody knew that, and that's
Wait.
what I asked.
We'll see. I was born. So for those outside of the Dallas area, my father is Steve Pesnell, one of our what's the new title? Field directors.
Yes,
Field
sir.
director is the new title.
Congratulations there, Steve Pesnell.
So he's one of the four in the making out this first set of field directors throughout the company. But he's worked at RO almost my entire life. I think I'm 35. He's been here about 33 years.
That's wow. You were a little 2 years old,
Mhm.
barely off the ground,
Oh yeah.
and your dad was out there making it happen.
Yep. So I've been around the company my entire life, but how I ended up at RO is basically I never was interested in construction at all when I was a kid or in high school or anything like that. It was always just sports and video games and building my own computers and just nerding out and just doing fun stuff. And then basically, it came the time that I had to apply to colleges. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I picked 3 colleges out of a hat. One of them was UT. Applied to UT, SMU, and UTD as kind of a backup because that's what somebody had told me at some point. Got into all 3. Chose UT just
Congrats.
basically because I wanted to live away from the house for a little bit. So went to UT.
You've got 3 hookums back there getting thrown
Yeah.
up in synchronous action
Well,
there.
So I ended up at UT. I spent the better part of a decade there, about 7.5 years. Didn't come out with a degree. I know a lot of people go to school for that long. I think most of them come out as doctors. Me, I just came out with more questions than answers.
At least you had something to show for it.
A little bit. So I just, and I was working at a TV station here, one of the smaller ones that actually broadcasts out of San Antonio. So that's basically where I ended up after college, and worked there for a couple years. My roommates were moving on with they were moving out of the house we were renting, and basically I didn't have any roommates moving in, and we just basically let the lease lapse, and I moved back in with my parents. And then a couple weeks later, my dad got me an interview with Carrie up in Dallas, and I started a few weeks after that. Actually, Kane was on a couple weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
Him and I have been here for exactly the same amount of time because we were in the same orientation class.
No kidding. It's funny. I remember that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going through orientation with Harold Lyles and I just said I remember, and then I forgot. There's a couple others there as well. And it's just like, I feel like you have a bit of a connection with those folks after
Yeah.
sitting through those lectures with them for a couple of days. You said you worked at a TV station for a period of time there after you're done at UT?
Yeah, for those in San Antonio, KCWX. I don't know if they're still on the air or not. It's a small station, mostly ran reruns. It was
What-
like lower tier than like CW on the tier list.
What'd you do there? Were you like running cameras, or were
I
you in
was
charge of programming?
I worked mostly master control as a master control operator because there was only very little productions. I got some production experience and then a little bit of like helping the station engineer out with like all the electronic equipment.
What do you do Wednesdays from 1 to 2 typically? And are you willing to relocate to Austin?
I don't know if I really want to
No.
relive my master control days.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
and he'd have some serious competition. Cesar's a wizard back there. He's
Yeah, live switching was always the worst. I got pretty good at it. But live switching like Rangers games and stuff, it was just like, it was nail biting because like you're getting a network feed from a satellite and you've got to pipe in local commercials. And if you don't hit your buttons right at the right time, you're gonna have like dead air
Oh my-
space, and then you get a call from the head of the station. Hey, why did we have 15 seconds of dead air? I sneezed.
nature called. Yeah. Oh, I could imagine that's stressful. And he's probably getting 1,000 phone calls from sponsors and people with ad runs and
Oh yeah.
just people who want to watch the Rangers game and miss that home run or whatever, that walk-off home run. That
Well, because if you
wrapped
don't
up
have
the game.
the other part is like if you don't have it timed out right, because they only give you like 90 seconds, and the ad people would only give me like 1 to 2 seconds on each side. So if you don't hit it right, yeah, you're running over the satellite. You can't cut a commercial off because that's a paying customer. Yeah, you missed the first few seconds of a broadcast.
Oh, that happens here from time to time. A couple weeks back, I screwed up, and Hagen and Bruno didn't have audio for the first like 20 seconds or whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
And I'm still losing sleep over it. So I can't imagine, trying to
yeah.
do an actual like real deal production and the weight that would bear on you.
The worst was when it would go into extra innings, because then I would have to build the commercial break, because we were guaranteed so many, and then after that you're just building them by hand and kind of
Just
loading in the commercials and stuff.
No change orders or anything. You just had to like figure it out on the run.
Yeah, we had like a set list of stuff to plug in that, for the extra inning stuff. That was always interesting.
So you went from TV station to RO. You've been here for what, I
10
guess
years.
10 years now. Yeah.
Almost. Yeah.
Congrats on that anniversary. What do you love about RO?
It's been part of my life. It's familiar, but since working here, it's the culture is the main thing keeping me around. Construction at first didn't interest me. It was mostly like I knew RO was a good company because my dad had stayed here for, at that point when I started, it was 20 some odd years. So I knew that at least I could get a 20 some odd years of longevity out of it. And I enjoyed it, ever since.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's got to be interesting just having someone to look up to and see 20 years there. Like it can't be that bad of a place. That's an insight you don't often get until you've spent those years there, and then you're trying to convince people, right, that are like, no, it's a good place. Come on, jump on board. But you actually got to observe it firsthand. Whenever he says, hey, got you a sit down with Carrie, you're like, all right, well, taking care of you for this long, I'm sure they could do the same for me.
Yeah.
I think you've brought forth exceptional value too as a QM and APM and now a project manager. You definitely have a very critical eye that you look at things with. How do you think that has helped you throughout being your career as a QM, APM, PM?
One of the skills that transfers over well from the QM world to project management is definitely that eye for detail. You've got to you've got to pay attention to the small details as a PM, in my opinion, while looking at the big picture. But, I'm responsible for mostly procuring parts and pieces for the superintendent and our trade partners to build the building, and paying attention to the details, especially when it comes to contracts. Um, there's a few great articles and podcasts out there in the world about uh, semicolons and in legal documents being in the wrong place and stuff like that, and the interpretations that can lead to. So definitely, like, punctuation is important, and paying attention to that, but paying attention to the small details. But I've always been that way. I'm the board game lawyer, usually.
Note to self.
The one that memorizes the rule book and is going to beat you with it.
That's what I'm with you there. I'm not intelligent enough to retain all the information, but I love learning all of the rules so I know how to manipulate them to my benefit. Because it does, whenever you look at people that either that are successful or do wild things or whatever, like that, they knew the process, the rules, the legalities, whatever, inside and out. And because they knew that, they were able to sift through it and figure out how they could work it to their advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't necessarily call it a key to getting somewhere in life, but I think that's kind of what takes people from good to great, is that extra layer of information.
Yeah, you have to pay attention to that. We get into situations all the time, where it's not on us to design something for code compliance. It's just us to raise the red flag. But a lot of times, architects and designers need our help to provide the best solution for the project. A lot of times, if you leave it up to them, they may provide you a solution that's workable, but it may not be in the best interest of the owner to go down that path from either a cost perspective, a time perspective, or even an overall functionality perspective. So it's important to pay attention to those details, like you said, and go look up the code yourself. If a trade partner's telling you that I can't do this per code, go look at the code, because a lot of times there's loopholes is kind of a bad word, but there's a lot of exceptions and exemptions available to you to kind of help you fit it to the project's needs.
There's that whole layer of interpretation too, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be from municipality to municipality or person to person or what have you. What a trade partner might read as something that's like, I can't do that because of this. You might go like, well, no, if you read 3 sentences below, like, there are exceptions, like you said, or there are other approaches and all that. So, I know you kind of mentioned like looking at the code book yourself and having understanding of that. How have you found that you navigate that area well between balancing being a fiduciary with the owner's money, but also working with the designers to make sure they have the right amount of information to make the proper decision, but also not going so far so as to start being over prescriptive?
The balance there is all about understanding what the stakeholders' expectations are. So not just your owners. When I say stakeholders, every person that stands to benefit from the project is a project stakeholder, from RO to our trade partners, to the design team, to our owners and their construction management, if they have that. So every person, has a motivation. They have a goal. There's something that they want to get out of the project. Trying to understand what they want and where they're coming from will help you understand how you need to provide the solution to everybody. So
I feel like we're getting a lot of good technical information here, but I know some personal stuff too.
Okay.
I didn't send any questions over ahead of time, so Garett's getting totally rung through the ringer here. How many times have you fallen in love?
Once.
Mm-hmm.
Truly fallen in love. There's a lot of times in the past as a young man that I thought I was in love.
Man, so how did you know that one time? Well, I guess first is the question is, were you even aware of it that one time that it happened? Or was that something that whenever you look back on it, you go, no, that's it?
Yeah, I mean, when my wife broke her washing machine and never moved out, that was a clear indication. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but I think that was probably the clearest indication.
Take a half step back there if you don't mind. What happened with the washing machine?
Well,
Your wife
it-
shouldn't move out. I don't think.
it is still one of those things that's a topic of contention in our household to this day. I maintain that while we were dating, she broke her washing machine on purpose so that she would have to come over to my place all the time and do laundry. And she just never left.
I'm happy that's working out for you. The first thing in my mind is like your wife was just mad at the washing machine, like took a hammer to it, and you came home. You're like, well, that's it. We're not getting another one. Like, not until you clean this up. She's like, I'm not cleaning it up. I don't know. These are the stories I fabricate in my head that make life so interesting.
I was thinking, she was like, I need to break this. That way I can lock that guy down.
There you go. She had a plan. Apparently it worked.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you guys been married for?
5 years.
5 years. Congratulations. Man, that's exciting. Any kids or anything on the way?
Mm-mm.
No?
Nope.
Plans for them?
Kinda, sorta, maybe.
When
I
the
don't know.
time's right?
Yeah.
What are you doing for fun whenever you're not working while you're still free of kids?
We're living in a house, so there's a lot of stuff to do around the house. I mean, lately it's not a whole lot with the leg the way it is, but most of the time I spend just playing video games and watching. I'll watch a bunch of shows on TV or scroll through TikTok.
Speaking of which, I think Bruno alluded to it as he was going through your introduction. But what happened with the leg?
So earlier in April, the Texas softball tournament, which is the AGC ABC up in Dallas, annual tournament. We were in our second game, our first game on Saturday. I was pitching a shutout.
Killing it.
I just hit a triple, and on the next at bat, little grounder just past the first baseman. I was running home. From what everybody told me, I thought I'd like hyperextended my knee, but from what everybody told me is it looked like I tripped over home plate. The batter's box was a little dug up and stuff. It was a little loose dirt, so that probably led to it. But I based off of what people told me is like, I think I tripped on either the plate or I got my right foot stuck in the sand in the batter's box, and I caught my full weight on my left foot, and basically my foot stayed in place and my knee kind of kept going a little bit, and I pulled my patella tendon. The surgeon said I pulled it almost completely off. I tore it, but he was like, there was very little to reattach my patella tendon back to my shin.
Yeah, just straight bone there. Nothing
Mhm.
left to sew onto. Well, that's I'm happy you're all right.
I scored, and that's what's important. I scored and we won.
There
And,
you go.
and that's the important.
Spoken like a true Texan right there. Like we got the W, we got the points.
Yeah.
All is well that ends well. Well, hopefully you'll be healed up before too long, so you can get back out there and go back to throwing all those Ks at the opposition. Within the realms of reasonability that you're willing to disclose, what's been the biggest mistake that you've ever made on a project, and how did you cope with that mistake, or how did you recover from that mistake?
Oh, the biggest mistake. It's hard to say really when you start talking about mistakes, because like right now as a PM, I think what's the largest financial mistake? But trying to think, one of the off the top of my head, one of the mistakes I made that I probably learned the most from was just absolutely screwing up stairs. I have made so many mistakes as a QM with stair shop drawings that I was fired multiple times from checking stairs.
Stairs are difficult, right? I feel like it doesn't matter whether they're like wood frame stairs, cast in place, steel stairs. Like it doesn't matter what it is; they're always a pain.
Mm-hmm. Probably the biggest mistake was on Harbor Chase South Lake, I would think. And it was a very intricate design the way the stairs were, because they were steel pan stairs, but instead of having a supporting steel structure, they were supported by the cold form metal framing, that made up the structure of that building. So we had to basically coordinate these pockets that the stair landings and the stringers would all kind of bear on as they were going up the building. And it was just, it was hard to fit the stair within the stairwell and get the landings ADA compliant, make sure that your rise and run is correct. And I got 2 of the stairs good, very little adjustment needed.
That 2 treads.
No, it was 2 total stairs out of 5, 2 out of 5. So
There you
that's
go.
not a bad batting average
Yeah.
on that project.
It's almost
but-
meatloaf standards.
But there was one in the far back section that was 3 stories, and the shop drawings and the pockets weren't lining up, and it was one of those things where it was definitely a lesson learned in making sure to get a cleaned up set of erection drawings from your steel erector, because we had to bleed all over the stairs and everything because of the design team's requirements and the ADA requirements. So that it was definitely a chopped up shop drawing, but it was one of those things that was like, we should have got it clean before we came to install, because, it just didn't work out. And basically we had to rip out one landing and 2 stringers and just completely rework it. And I think we ended up adding an additional mid landing to be able to make the switchback work.
Man, that's tough. That's a tough one to swallow. But it is what it is. It happens, and now we know.
Yeah.
All those, any QMs, anyone out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got some marked up stair shops. Go ahead and get a nice clean set before you go do your install, so you're not slipping up and putting the wrong thing in the wrong spot, or having a nonsense occur in general. Anyone come down on you hard for that one, or was it a pretty gracious fall?
Oh no, it was definitely because that was the third project in a row I screwed up some stairs. So that was that was 2 projects in a row. The next one was 3 in a row. But still, it was definitely we worked together and worked the solution out as a team, but it was definitely, for the rest of the project, something that was constantly brought up. Anytime when we would punch the stairs or walk through that particular stair, I was always asked, "Hey, why does this feel a little out of place?"
That's fair. You probably earned that much,
Mhm.
but I think that's how we grow, though. You know what I mean? That's You screw up, you own it. You say, "Yep, that's my bad." But I learned my lesson, and hopefully next time clean it up.
Yeah.
But it happens. I've been there.
We'll say this: I never made the same mistake twice with stairs.
There you go.
So that's the important thing to look back on.
That's I was thinking about not necessarily stairs, but about that the other day, and I was talking with some folks, and I thought, I don't care when people are wrong. What I don't want, or what I don't like, is when people are predictably wrong. Like, if you're unpredictably wrong, that's fantastic. Like, find new ways to break the system, find new ways to surprise me in ways that you can be wrong, which almost never happens with Dr. Fritz, thankfully. But it's those people when you can look at someone and say, "I'm going to ask you to do this, and I think you're going to screw it up, and I think this is how you're going to screw it up." And then they go and do exactly what you thought they were going to do. It's like, are you not listening? Am I not communicating effectively? Like, what's the holdup here? Why can't we improve?
And sometimes you'll have a trade partner like that, and a lot of times it's good to know that going in with a certain trade partner about where their shortcomings are, and you try to work to shore those up. Of course we can do that as a team, to shore people up, but sometimes if it's a consistent thing, it's definitely hard to overcome, hard to kind of work through.
What are some of your favorite parts of the job of being a project manager in your current role?
In my current role, I do like the contracts, working out the contracts and the intricacies and all that, because it gives me the opportunity to basically go through the project and build it and then negotiating the contracts for how we're going to build it.
Is it more the kind of contract construction, kind of getting it all pieced together, or more that negotiation side that you really get fired up about?
I'm not big on the negotiation part of it. You know, the dollars and cents of everything is definitely, you know, I want to make sure it's there. I want to, you know, be, you know, a good steward of our owners and our clients' money. But at the same time, it's like I personally like putting the contract together, putting the scope together, making sure that we've got it covered. Because it in my mind, when I put that together, that's, you know, I'm the first line of defense against any kind of scope gaps. And they happen. I mean, they're gonna sometimes we won't find them until we go to build a certain condition because you just can't see it on paper or even in a model. It doesn't appear to be a problem until we go to actually sequence the project and build it.
You realize, hey, there's no floor for that guy to set a ladder on to do this thing that's overhead or whatever. It's like, man,
And that's where, you know, you've got to rely on your superintendent and the plan and the sequence of work that y'all have worked together to put together, and that should dictate the scope of work and your buyout structure. But that little part of putting it all together and making sure all the pieces are in the right place is definitely like one of my favorite enjoyable parts, right?
so I'm super curious to know, between your self-proclaimed nerdiness and your interest in contracts and building them out, have you been playing around with any AI tools to help you through that process, feeding anything into ChatGPT saying, hey, does this look good?
Yeah.
What could you give us any examples of kind of where you found
So
value?
I've been mostly utilizing it for uh basically taking scopes of work and quotes from subcontractors and putting it into an outline format that's easier to read. So basically scouring through their quotes and, you know, all their delineations and summarizing their exclusions and kind of basically taking the 2 or 3 pages of like extra words that they tack onto the end of their quote, summarizing that, kind of putting it together with what's already delineated in their contract, and then taking some of the, you know, the lessons learned and other documents of what should be included in the scope, and kind of using like Chat GPT. I just dump it all into the playground function, and I've got a script that runs that basically summarizes it all and puts it into a standardized format that looks close to what the final scope of work would be. And then I go through that and edit it and kind of like parse it down into, you know, more manageable scope of work, and make sure everything's covered.
That's beautiful, and I love that too, that you're in the playground area specifically, not just limiting yourself to that one prompt window. You're like, no, let me go in there, pick the model, adjust the temperature, tokenize it however I see fit to get that most accurate response for my needs.
Yep.
Was this something you just kind of like dove into and you're like, hey, let's feed it in and see what it gets? Or did you spend a lot of time kind of comparing and contrasting the first couple of rounds before you had enough trust in the machine to like really put some faith in it?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where I never really put complete faith in the machine. You really can't. It's the same thing. It's a lesson, you know, you learn with back when we were using pipe, and now Procore's submittal register builder. You can't fully trust it because it's gonna parse out some stuff you don't need. And same thing with that. You know, you've got to go back through and compare it to the quote, and you've got to check it. But definitely doing a lot of the legwork, taking a lot of the typing out of it, that definitely helps, especially with me, because like, you know, sometimes like I'll pay attention too closely to what I'm typing and not pay attention to the overall like scope of things. So, you know, I'll type, and then go back and read what I just typed, and where did that come from? What was I thinking?
Yeah, for sure. It's a bit of a nice reprieve from the just the fact you go in there and give it like, hey, I'm trying to formulate this thought. Like, here's the core bits of it, and you know what you're trying to deliver, but you're trying so hard to balance the tactful nature of it while still being informative and all that. And it's not that the bots do it for you perfectly or anything like that, but it's just the fact that it offloads a lot of that initial, 30% effort of like getting something in place.
Right.
Kind of takes that out for you so you can go be like, okay, great. I've got a great starting point now. I can go back, edit this. Oh, hey, it left this bit of information out, or I don't like how it worded this particular sentence. You make those tweaks to it versus having to sit there and type and or 100 times a day. What do you or let me start with, do you think that those tools like OpenAI's Chat GPT will change how construction happens over the next 5 years?
The actual building, no. I think it's going to change a lot of what we do in the office, a lot of what PMs do. It's going to be very helpful to build contracts and everything like that. It's going to be able to allow us to be more consistent across the board, because we're not having to retype the same thing over and over again. So, the goal, one of the goals would be, that you can basically just build a scope outline in your own words and put it into Chat GPT, and then it pops out a fully fleshed out scope of work for you.
How cool would that be if we took and yeah, we're going way off into the deep end here now. Just think how cool it'd be if we, especially for the PMs that have been here for say 10 years or more, right? Writing contracts for 10 years or more. We took all that information and trained our own models and said, hey, this is what this person types. These are the things that are often, I don't want to say overlooked or left out, but not emphasized as strongly as other areas. Maybe you've got a PM who writes great structural contracts, right? Kills concrete, rebar, steel, and all that. But his drywall scopes are like kind of weak, and we get caught on COs and all that down the road because of that. You go and take this model, you train it up on that PM, you jump into Procore. It says, oh, hey, look, Garett Pesnell's in here today, and he's writing some contracts. And you start writing stuff up, and you've got little Clippy down there in the corner, or whatever the new Clippy is, saying, hey, this looks great, but I think we ought to make some adjustments here. And it, starts filling that in for you and all that. What a beautiful world that would be.
Yeah, that would be nice. And then you can basically get out of the contract space and more into the problem solving space, because that's, you end up putting out fires a lot. So sometimes, like, you'll be in the middle of a contract, a problem will come across your desk. You got to work it out with your quality managers or your superintendent and work through it. And then 2-3 hours later, you come back, you're not in the same headspace. It takes you a little while to get back into it, and consistency is not there. So, it would be good to be able to utilize these tools to not only build scopes of work, but you can also think of like analyzing spec books and analyzing drawings, and basically providing not only a ready check, but also, not only an in-house ready check, but also, building an outline of the scope of work for each trade that, the AI analyzes based off of, like you were saying, a trained model of previous experience. We take all the good stuff that we found and that we've done, train the model on that so that it can keep, basically analyzing that for us.
And I love what you brought up there, that having those tools, it's not that it's there to replace you or replace an OE. It's there to allow you to do what you do best already. It's not here to take over your job. It's here to assist you. So instead of spending those countless hours typing those same things over and over again, or doing a very monotonous review of like a column schedule or pure schedule, just looking for that one slip up on like, oh, that pure type isn't in the drawings. What's the deal here? Instead of spending time doing that, you can spend time actually resolving the issues that a machine can't address, that an AI bot can't help you with.
Yeah. And that's the important distinction, is that at least right now where AI's at is it'll cut down our research time, is the best way to put it. You spend a lot of time researching either a problem, or just you get put on a new project and you've got to familiarize yourself with the drawings and specs and everything like that, and even the owner's contract. So being able to have AI just give you a 1 to 2 page brief on the project, just to bring you up to speed a little quicker, could cut 3 to 4 hours off of your study time. Maybe even more depending on how sophisticated we can build the models and get, in the next 5, 10 years.
Such a beautiful concept, Garrett. And I know we talked before a bit about, having that library of lessons learned, and if you could almost filter it by just a bunch of check boxes, right? Yes, this is in Dallas. Yes, is this with this architect? Yes, we're using this trade partner. What are some things I need to know? And that bot, why even bother have it produce something you have to read? Just have it read it to you. It produces a short little audio book for you. Garrett's 101 on the next hospital project. It says, hey, it looks like you've done some of these in the past. Here's some things that we missed. We had a lot of RFIs on this topic. With this trade partner, we typically see these things left out in their scope. So make sure you review those. And then when it comes to these projects looking ahead, these are some areas that we think you should be looking into in particular.
Yeah. Or even just building an internal ready check system based off of previous lessons learned, just so that it'll check it for you and put it in the brief summary so that everybody can be on the same page about what to look out for with this project.
You've just absolutely supercharged that project team at that point in time using that AI assist to get you off the ground.
Yeah, because the importance of all of our jobs, in the field and operations, quality managers, project engineers, superintendents, it's the problem solving aspect. It's our own experiences actually being in the field and solving problems, from various perspectives, and for superintendents, sequencing work and the more time that they can spend actually doing that as opposed to like researching some of this stuff, because they don't, you may not need to look at every single drawing for every single problem, but sometimes you end up doing that because you've got to go down the rabbit hole of the section cuts and do your research. Whereas, if you have AI summarize everything for you, even if you have to do it problem by problem initially, just have it, hey, pull out all these details, show me all these, and then you can look at everything at once and get to solving the problem sooner. That's kind of the goal. I see it. That's how it's going to hopefully help us.
Fingers crossed. Open AI and the Bard folk and all that, if you're out there helping industry out. Garrett, I think we're just about up on time here. This is weird. Like I said, first time without a laptop, and I don't have a watch on or anything. I have no idea what time it is. And Cesar showed me, oh, we've got 8 minutes left. I'm like, that's impossible. We've been here for 10 minutes tops. There's no way we have 8 minutes left. And now we're down to 1 minute, 2 minute. They can't count. They don't know. One more question for you before we kick out of here. If you had the opportunity to give young Garrett some advice, what would you tell him?
You talking like as a young PE, just starting out?
Whatever you like. Yeah. Schoolyard Garrett, young PE Garrett, first date Garrett, whatever. Whatever Garrett you like to think about.
Yeah. Well, I like to think about my Garrett singing lead vocals for Leonard Skinner. Wait, no. That's
I like where you're going. Yeah. How does he get there?
No, I think probably the most beneficial thing is, one thing, I was really in the details, but at least initially I was afraid to ask questions. I would do my research and try to find the answer, but, sometimes it's not being afraid to ask questions. And then just, not being afraid to just sometimes take control, take charge of a situation. Especially as a younger QM, a younger PE, you don't necessarily want to go out there and try to lift panels by yourself, but take on, look for places where you can help out and ask where you can help out and take on extra responsibility, because that's where you're going to learn and grow. Don't just stay stagnant. Move forward, continue to move forward. Best way to look at it.
Love that. Find where that help is needed and be that help. Be part of the solution. Well, Mr. Pesnell, thank you so much for coming by today and chatting with us for the last almost hour now. I think we could talk maybe you and the other Pesnell into coming on here in the future.
May require an unmarked van and several large individuals with ski masks, but we can probably
I've got a feeling we've got some of those around here.
Yeah. We might have to coordinate that with some large individuals to make that happen.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. We'll put that one down for a future episode. To everyone out there, smile and wave. Oh, thanks, Bruno. To everyone out there that jumped on board today, thank you for sitting here and talking or listening, I guess, to Garett and I talk. Get out there, vote for your favorite Hilti Challenge bots. Go to that webpage. It's in the email. It's in the chat. It's all over the place. If you have questions, call me, text me, email me, Teams me, do whatever. I'll get to you as quickly as I can. And also the AI challenge is out there. So go out there, get your ideas submitted. That has 5 winners. There's no grand prize winner. So there's 5 winners, each one getting a year's subscription to ChatGPT Plus and a $250 gift card. So you can go enjoy yourself a spa day, a nice dinner, a couple of games, whatever you're into. And just 2 more things. One is those RO communications emails. Make sure you're reading those. Those are super important things that we're putting out there. The marketing team and leadership have done a great job of consolidating their efforts to communicate. So whenever those come into your inbox, make sure you're clicking on those, reading through, getting familiarized. And the last thing I'll share with you all is next week we have our first Ops Council guest coming on board. We'll have Mr. Alan Codina sitting here with us for an hour, so that'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you get on that invite. And 2 apologies. One to everyone out there for sending out a Teams invite. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there. These are always on YouTube. These are never a Teams call. And the other one to Mr. Pesnell, who I referred to as a superintendent on the invite. He is indeed a project manager, as he proudly stated. So thank you again, Garett, and we'll see you all next week.